All right, next up, hypotheses. You will develop a hypothesis. So remember, I told you that you have the choice between testing two variables. Okay, so hypothesis one is based on the size, right? That will be the independent variable you're going to be testing. So hypothesis one right here is if I increase the size of the paper, then the paper airplane will travel farther. Thus, the larger the paper airplane, the farther it travels. That's the hypothesis. It's the size hypothesis. Okay, you could even you could flip that on its head if you wanted to. Maybe you don't have that hypothesis. Maybe you think that's a goofy hypothesis. I'd much rather say, no, the smaller the paper airplane, the farther it travels. You could absolutely do that. You would just simply have to type in your text, right? You could change that if you wanted. This is yours to edit however you want. The same could be said on the previous slide that I didn't mention. If you want to write your observation in a different way, um, it would have to still contain the main idea that paper airplanes do not travel equal distances based on a number of factors. And the two that we're concerned about are size or the type of material that it's made out of. Okay? So that's one hypothesis that you could choose to move forward with in your experiment. Or you could do hypothesis number two, which is based on the type of paper. So if I use lighter or less dense paper, then the airplane will travel farther. Thus, the lighter the airplane, the farther it will travel. Okay, so that's going to be, and I'll discuss it more in coming slides. But you're going to have to find different materials to make your paper airplanes. All right. So in order to conduct your experiment, I'm asking that you have three prototypes. Okay, so if you're choosing to conduct the size experiment, you will need to make three prototypes of different sizes. Okay, and I'll discuss more of that later too. And then down here, you'll need three different types of paper, so different materials. Um, Notebook paper is definitely less dense than computer paper or your standard 8 by 11 copy paper. Newspaper is incredibly uh, light. It is probably the least dense paper that you could get a hold of, unless you can make an airplane out of tissue paper. If you have any tissue paper available, okay. And so the experiment that you choose to test, the hypothesis that you choose to test, will probably depend on what materials you have available to you at your house. Okay. But yeah, these are the two hypotheses that I want you to test. Um, and like I said, you have some wiggle room. You could switch this one around to be the smaller the paper airplane, the farther it travels. Or maybe you have a dissenting opinion on the type of paper. Maybe you say the heavier, right, or the denser the paper, then the farther it will travel. You could do that too, right? It's just a matter of switching up the text in this slide. Okay. Okay.